Hey guys, it's Oluvids, and today I want to talk about the first major arc of Xenogears, which all takes place on one continent, Ignis. Ever since I started streaming Xenogears, I've been fully invested in this single continent that has so much packed in. And while the game does go on to much bigger things than that, I can't help but miss the time before everything in this world was revealed. When I was simply playing as a guy from a small town, finally stepping into the reality that is the war between Ave and Kislev. Fei Fong Wong, as far as he remembers, just lived in the small village of Lahan his whole life, a quiet and peaceful place that's neutral in the war, and he simply lives in his own little metaphorical bubble. And of course, you guys, I'm assuming, know how it goes. That bubble bursts, and Fei is forced to leave his home and go forth into the frontier with his mentor, Citan. Now, living in a small town and setting out into the world is nothing new for JRPGs, but it's the context and state of Ignis that gave it a different feel to me. There are two main kingdoms, and less than a handful of towns scattered around. Because of the fact that your point of view character was so detached from the world, means you really get the feeling of being able to run into anyone and anything out there. First time you step into the forest, you run into a German girl in a peculiar uniform, and as you're barely able to understand the terms she's throwing at you, on her end, she's realizing that her prejudice may have been misplaced. It's the first indicator that you really know nothing about this world, and while Citan will try to guide you, he won't always intervene. The small towns you enter feel like you're stepping into a new land, like a hobbit stepping out of the Shire for the first time and seeing what the world is really like. These towns play different rules than Lahan, and you learn about who runs things in town and who regulates gears and everything else. I also like how venturing out into the no man's land of the Ignis Desert is treated with a lot of caution, as if fighting a dinosaur in a forest wasn't tough enough. As soon as you wander into the desert, you run into bandits, soldiers, and a UFO. I like how much time we spend in this desert, and every other location in Ignis. And with each event, you realize that the world is more complicated than you thought. Running into an aura farmer in the dead of night during a supermoon, getting trapped in a cave with a hot-headed pirate, rescuing a princess from her own country, and so much more. Ave is a land that seems pretty good, but it gets its layers shown as you partner up with the royal family that got kicked out. And Kislev, on the other hand, while it's very dirty and run down, it has different cultures depending on which class you're in, and they have their own tournaments and gear fighting and all this sorts of stuff. You meet so many people in each kingdom, and that's not even touching places like Nisan, which feels like the only truly peaceful place aside from Lahan, the refugee haven from the war, where you learn about their philosophy and history, and pretty sure it's the only place not hiding a dark truth. In an effort to find his purpose, Fei lives many lives, a small town painter, a rebel fighter, and a prisoner gladiator. Along with all of this, you know that there's something bigger outside of all of this, and that even in this nation of Ignis, they haven't stepped into the bigger world and peel back all the layers of their planet. Some higher place where all the people you've met, Bart, Rico, Margie, Sigurd, and Hammer, are seen as lower, unclean beings, somewhere exists in this world, and you know that thanks to Ellie. Torn now because of her journey to Ignis. Each playable character gets plenty of time to breathe and develop in this part of the game, and they do a great job at tying these characters to the political conflicts of their native lands, and putting their motivations on display. I don't know how much the Xenogears fandom praises this section of the game, but I found it to be very strong even after all the JRPGs I've played. And that's not even mentioning how all of this was elevated by the great cinematography, music, and pacing of the game. As someone who does like to learn more about the world I'm jumping into in these games, Xenogears did an excellent job getting me invested in these events taking place on the land. And I think that even with everything that comes later on, this part still stands out to me as the true foundation of why this game is great. The pacing, in particular, as I mentioned, was very well done. If there was any dungeon or location that was maybe starting to get a little old, something interesting would happen that got me right back into being invested. Overall, it was a fantastic first act to a much bigger game. And, well, that's all I got for now. Let me know if you want me to make more videos on other aspects of Xenogears, and you can do that by liking the video and commenting down below, and subscribing. Anyway, at the time of posting this, I have actually beaten the game already. When I first wrote a lot of the script, I didn't beat the game, but now that I'm recording this, I did it after I finished streaming the game, so if you want to see my full playthrough, I got a playlist there, you can check that out. And yeah, so that's going to be it for today. Thank you all for watching, and of course, anyone who does comment, please don't spoil any non-Xenogears game, at least not without any spoiler tags, you know, things like Xenosaga or Xenoblade. Definitely make sure that it's well hidden for anyone that hasn't played those games yet. Anyway, that's all I got for today. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.